While the mainstream media paints a rose-colored picture of anti-war protests on college campuses across the nation, those paying close attention have seen violent uprisings actually calling for a genocide against Israel. And it's a well-funded, concerted effort. The former terror finance analyst for the U.S. Treasury, Jonathan Schnazzer, calls it a constellation of extremist groups that he's been investigating for more than a decade. He testified before Congress in 2016 and then again last November. And two groups stand out in particular. American Muslims for Palestine, AMP, which he says funds Students for Justice in Palestine, SJP.
AMP has built a network of activists that are tormenting Jewish and pro-Israel students on college campuses nationwide. Students for Justice in Palestine rallies are not spontaneous expressions of student dissent.
Now, Schnazzer has exposed that AMP's executive director, Osama Abu Irshaid, has personally been on campuses of Columbia and George Washington University, leading these protests and intifada chants. By the way, he was prominently featured on the Hamas military wing's website in 2014. We'll show you that. So the question is, who or what is behind this network of anti-American, anti-Israel groups? Well, Schnazzer says AMP is made up of people who worked for Hamas charities like the Holy Land Foundation. They were shut down by the U.S. government. In 2008, the FBI convicted the leaders of the Texas-based Holy Land Foundation for funneling more than $12 million to Hamas under the guise of being a Muslim charity.
I worked at the U.S. Treasury Department in the mid-2000s, and my colleagues and I disrupted several Hamas charities that were operating here in America. I'm talking about the Holy Land Foundation, Kind Hearts, and the Islamic Association for Palestine, also known as IAP. The case against these groups, which provided financial and material support to Hamas, is by now well known. More than a half dozen individuals who previously worked for those Hamas charities now run American Muslims for Palestine.
After being shut down, it appears the Holy Land Foundation simply changed its name to American Muslims for Palestine. The same bad actors with ties to terrorism, once again disguised as a 501c3.
Mr. Chairman, to summarize, the personnel, mission, goals, donors, and infrastructure of AMP share a striking resemblance to the Hamas charities that were dismantled here more than a decade ago.
Well, Jonathan Schnazzer has been all over this, exposing Hamas's influence and funding on college campuses. He currently serves as the Senior Vice President of Research at the Foundation of Defense of Democracies, and he joins us live. Jonathan, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. There is so much to unpack here. The first thing that comes to mind, isn't this a national security issue? I know you've said that the guy who concerns you right now is AMP's executive director, Osama Abu Irshaid, who clearly has a questionable background, and there seems to be a connection to Hamas.
Well, yeah, he's the one that is of concern to me right now because we've seen him at Columbia holding the microphone, speaking at a press conference in the encampment there, riling up the crowd. He's leading the chants. We saw him at GW the next day. He was doing the exact same thing, holding the microphone up at the loudspeaker on the quad, engaging with the encampment, appearing to take a leadership role. And so it's very disconcerting to see an adult who has been a professional organizer for causes known to be close to Hamas. To see him doing that, to see a man who has been engaging with, for example, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, the president of Turkey, who is, by all accounts, someone who has been hosting and providing material support to Hamas directly in his country. We see this man as a professional activist right now. And the fact that he is on campus should be of serious concern to any university that has been experiencing the chaos that we've seen across the country.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.